Today we're talking turkey. Cookies, that is. Grab your icing and join me. Hi, I'm Leslie with Leslie's Cookies and Treats, and if you love decorating sugar cookies or you want to learn how, you're in the right place. Let's decorate together. So today I'm whipping up these turkeys for our Thanksgiving dinner, and you can get this cookie cutter STL file on my website. I'll leave a link in the description for that and all of the products I've used. And I'm just going to start out by flooding in every other feather in orange with my icing that is about a 15-second consistency. And once those are flooded in, I'll use my scribe to settle the icing down and pop any air bubbles and shape it out to the edge if I need to. And once I finish flooding in this last orange feather, I'm going to grab my red icing and immediately put 3 or 4 dots at the top of each one of these feathers. This is a wet on wet effect, and the red icing will sink right into that orange icing. And if your red icing isn't settling down into your orange icing, just grab a scribe and gently poke up and down at it, and it'll settle right down. And then set the cookie aside for about 10 or 15 minutes and give the orange icing time to crust over before you come back in with the red icing. My icing here is also at about a 15-second consistency. And once I finish with my scribe, I'm going to immediately grab my orange icing and repeat the dots in the red icing. And to make such little dots, you don't even really need to squeeze your piping bag. Just gently touch it down and pull it right back up. And then set that aside to dry again. And the reason why we put our cookies aside to dry until the icing crusts over is I don't want my brown icing here for the wing to blend in with the orange icing. And so once it dries and crusts over, it will keep its separation and won't blend into the icing like the dots did when we piped those. So I'm just making 2 little wings here, and I'm going to flood them in with my brown icing. My icing is still in a 15-second consistency. And then I grabbed my ivory colored icing and I made 2 little lines in the bottom of both of those wings. And then I'm using my scribe and I'm just dragging up through those lines to create more of a feathered look on my wings. And be sure to clean off your toothpick or scribe in between each pull through the icing. And if you have any areas that don't settle down, just tap up and down gently with your scribe before you set this cookie aside to dry again. And now that the wings have had a chance to crust over, come back in with your brown icing again and flood in the rest of the turkey body. And use your scribe to settle that icing down. I decided to give him a little bit of a feather sticking up at the top of his head, so I just took my scribe and just dragged up a little bit of icing here. And you can do that too if you want to. Just be careful you don't poke into the red or orange icing underneath because that icing might still be wet. And then set it aside to dry again. And now that my icing has crusted over, I came back in and piped in a little teardrop, and I'm just going to use my scribe to help shape that. And then using my ivory icing, piping 2 lines for his little turkey feet. And then I piped a big ball for his beak, and I'll shape that in a minute before I came back down and added in the rest of the little lines for his feet. And then moving back up to his beak, I'm just going to drag that ball of icing down into a point at the bottom. I should have waited a little bit to pipe his beak so that the red icing for the wattle had more of a chance to dry, but it is what it is. I recommend you wait just a little bit. And then I piped 2 dots for eyes, and then I decided to go over the lines for his feet again. And then this little turkey is done and ready for Thanksgiving celebrations. So what do you think? Turkey cookies, or should we bake ham cookies for our Thanksgiving dinner? Let me know in the comments what team you're on. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Gobble gobble.